Blog Talk Radio.
He is the last of his kind. All that remains of a once powerful nation. Some think he is a myth. Some believe he is the chosen one, who will bring balance to a world at war. And some will stop at nothing to destroy him.
Welcome, everybody, to Morris Talk Live 100. I'm your host, Tarhaka L. And tonight, our subject will be Jew and Israel. Is not a name and a word. Is a name and a word and not a person or people. Jew and Israel is a name and a word and not a person or people. We're going to get down in that. We're going to delve into it. Our special guest will be Dr. Walter Williams. He'll be coming in shortly, and we're going to go to the commercial breaks. But first of all, I have a few questions. What is a Jew in the first place? Who is a Jew? Where did the word come from? Who created the word Jew in the beginning? Where did the people labeled Jews come from? Why was the word Jew given to a people in the first place? These are just a few of the questions that we're going to deal with here tonight. And I want you to have paper and pencils. It's very, very important for you to take notes so you can verify this stuff that we're going to be discussing here this evening. We're going to give you plenty of time to go get you some paper and pencils. But in the meantime, we're going to go to our commercial. And when we come back, we'll run a little plug clearly showing how mainstream media look at this thing before we get in here and start dealing with the truth and the bottom line, the verifiable information Dr. Williams will be bringing to the table this evening. Okay? So y'all hold on a minute. We'll be on back.
Hello, everybody. I want to introduce you to The Great Debate by Dr. Walter Williams. He single-handedly laid out the facts in this powerful debate against Mr. Munir Muhammad of the Nation of Islam, Chester Blair, a prominent lawyer in Chicago, Illinois, and Reverend Henry Hardy, a prominent minister in Chicago, and Prince Azio ben Israel of the Hebrew Israelites. This debate was hosted by a retired policeman named W.L. Lillard. Now, the whole thing was a setup by Lillard and his gang, but it didn't work. They brought what they believed to the table, but Dr. Walter Williams brought what he knew for a fact and what he could prove and laid it on the table. We are now in the age of knowing. The age of walking around believing in stuff is over. For your copy of The Great Debate, go to TarhakaDataElimination.org. That's TarhakaDataElimination.org, or contact me by phone. My number's on the website. Oh, and by the way, the lawyer got bust up too. The Great Debate. Get your copy today. Good day and peace. What a fantastic way to live. Hello, I'm Tarhaka L. operating in the private as a secured party and creditor instead of living the life of a debtor. Now to learn how to do that, you have to get the knowledge. There's no doubt about it. You don't mix public with private, just like oil and water don't mix. For the skill and know-how, go to www.tarhakadataelimination.org. That's tarhakadataelimination.org. Contact me, Tarhaka. My number is on the website. Or send me an email. That's tarhakadataelimination.org. Learn how to live the good life as a secured party and a creditor instead of a debtor, and eliminate your debts. Fun time is almost over. tarhakadataelimination.org. Peace.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we move any further, let me draw some more emphasis on the fact that we are giving you plenty of time to get your paper and pencil handy so that you can take notes on this stuff. But I want to also add that now, in the current situation of the United States, is time for us to become secure parties. Now's the time. It has never been a more urgent time than it is today with the things that's going on. Food prices is double. A lot of us are still not growing our own food, and we're headed towards some terrible situations. Secure party and creditor is the way to go. You want to be a creditor instead of a debtor, and you want to know the difference between public and private. You want to start getting stuff in order. Now's the time to do that. tarhakadataelimination.org. Okay? Hold on.
Credit card debt, student loan debt, lawsuits, child support, mortgages, foreclosure, secured party, and creditor. Get my free report. Go to www.tarhakadataelimination.org. That's tarhakadataelimination.org. What kind of trust do you set up? How do you use a trust? What do you put in a trust? For the solution, contact me, Tarhaka Amana El Bey. Get my free report by going to tarhakadataelimination.org. Driver's license, freedom to travel. Who exactly needs a driver's license? What did the U.S. Supreme Court rule about it over and over again? How does that work? What is proper syntax grammar? Get my free report. Go to tarhakadataelimination.org. Fill out the little contact form, put your email address in there. That'll come straight to me, and I'll rush it directly to your email. tarhakadataelimination.org.
What is Judaism, and what do Jews believe? What is Judaism, and who or what is a Jew? Is Judaism simply a religion? Is it a cultural identity or just an ethnic group? Are Jews a clan of people, or are they a nation? What do Jews believe? And do they all believe the same things? Dictionary definitions of a Jew include a member of the tribe of Judah, an Israelite, a member of a nation existing in the land of Israel from the 6th century BC to the 1st century AD, a person belonging to a continuation through descent or conversion of the ancient Jewish people, and one whose religion is Judaism. According to rabbinical Judaism, a Jew is one who has a Jewish mother or one who has formally converted to Judaism. Leviticus 24:10 is often cited to give this belief credibility, although the Torah makes no specific claim in support of this tradition. Some rabbis say that it has nothing to do with what the individual actually believes. These rabbis tell us that a Jew does not need to be a follower of Jewish laws and customs to be considered Jewish. In fact, a Jew can have no belief in God at all and still be Jewish based on the above rabbinical interpretation. Other rabbis make it clear that unless a person follows the precepts of the Torah and accepts the 13 principles of faith of Maimonides, Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, one of the greatest medieval Jewish scholars, he cannot be a Jew. Although this person may be a biological Jew, he has no real connection to Judaism. In the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, Genesis 14:13 teaches that Abram, commonly recognized as the first Jew, was described as a Hebrew. The name Jew comes from the name of Judah, one of the 12 sons of Jacob and one of the 12 tribes of Israel. Apparently, the name Jew originally referred to those who were members of the tribe of Judah. But when the kingdom was divided after the reign of Solomon, the term referred to anyone in the kingdom of Judah, including the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Today, many believe that a Jew is anyone who is a physical descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, regardless of which of the original 12 tribes he descends from. So, what is it that Jews believe, and what are the basic precepts of Judaism? There are 5 main forms or sects of Judaism in the world today. They are Orthodox, Conservative, Reformed, Reconstructionist, and Humanistic. The beliefs and requirements in each group differ dramatically. However, a short list of the traditional beliefs of Judaism would include the following. God is the creator of all that exists. He is one, incorporeal, without a body, and he alone is to be worshipped as absolute ruler of the universe. The first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible were revealed to Moses by God. They will not be changed or augmented in the future. God has communicated to the Jewish people through prophets. God monitors the activities of humans. He rewards individuals for good deeds and punishes evil. Although Christians base much of their faith in the same Hebrew scripture as Jews do, there are major differences in belief. Jews generally consider actions and behavior to be of primary importance. Beliefs come out of actions. This conflicts with conservative Christians for whom belief is of primary importance and actions are a result of that belief. Jewish belief does not accept the Christian concept of original sin, the belief that all people have inherited Adam and Eve's sin when they disobeyed God's instructions in the Garden of Eden. Judaism affirms the inherent goodness of the world and its people as creations of God. Jewish believers seek to sanctify their lives and draw closer to God by fulfilling mitzvah, or divine commandments. Judaism says that no savior is needed or available as an intermediary. The 613 commandments found in Leviticus and other books regulate all aspects of Jewish life. The 10 commandments, as delineated in Exodus 20, 1-17, and Deuteronomy 5, 6-21, form a brief synopsis of the law. The Messiah, anointed one of God, will arrive in the future and gather Jews once more into the land of Israel. There will be a general resurrection of the dead at that time. The Jerusalem temple, destroyed in AD 70 by the Romans, will be rebuilt. Beliefs about Jesus vary considerably. Some view him as a great moral teacher. Others see him as a false prophet or as an idol of Christianity. Some sects of Judaism will not even say his name, due to the prohibition against saying an idol's name. The Jews are often referred to as God's chosen people. This does not mean that they are in any way to be considered superior to other groups. Bible verses such as Exodus 19:5 simply state that God has selected Israel to receive and study the Torah, to worship God, to rest on the Sabbath, and to celebrate the festivals. Jews were not chosen to be better than others. They were simply selected to be a light to the Gentiles and to be a blessing to all the nations. Got questions? The Bible has answers, and we'll help you find.
Okay, everybody. Now, that's the general crux of what mainstream society believes because of the media, and it just goes hand in hand with one of the 9 points of the global system of white supremacy, which is religion itself. But what we want to do today is bring in our special guest, Dr. Walter Williams, so that we can get down to the mechanics and the nuts and bolts and wiggle pins of this thing and get the truth and the verifiable truth so that you can write it down. Now, you have plenty of time to get your paper and pencil handy because we're going to break this thing down for you tonight so you can really understand what's going on. It appears that my guest is in the queue. I'm going to open up his phone line and bring him on in. Dr. Walter Williams, are you with us tonight?
Yes, I'm here, Brother Tarhaka.
All right, fantastic. You're coming across loud and clear. We can hear you. And I wanted to play that little clip there to give everybody a chance to get the paper and pencil handy. And, of course, we got a whole lot of new people here with us this evening, and the switchboard is lighting up. And what I would like for you to do is give us a little a quick breakdown on who you are and tell us just a smidgen about this great debate thing, man. We want to do that, and then we can go on down into the broadcast. And I'm going to yield the floor, and you can go forward.
Okay, my name is Walter Williams. I born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and miseducated in Chicago, Illinois. And I have written 2 books, The Historical Origin of Christianity, The Historical Origin of Islam, whereby the thesis of the Christianity book is saying there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form or been in race, creed, or color by the name of Jesus Christ. My second book, The Historical Origin of Islam, the thesis of that book is saying that there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form or been in race, creed, or color by the name of a Prophet Muhammad of Islamic tradition. Never existed. I have taught in the college level in Chicago and as well as the elementary level in Chicago. Also, I created a ancient Egyptian museum in Chicago. Opened the doors March 11, 1990 to the public, and that museum was up and running for 11 years until I had to close it in year 2001. So that gives me an opportunity to present what I have to say tonight about the subject that we're about to partake in. So, Brother Tarhaka, you want to say something about the Great Debate tape?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did you want to say about it?
Okay, well, we got a lot of new people here, and I just thought you might give us a little breakdown on, well, we've already ran the commercial. I let them know where to get it from. But it's so exciting to me. I every once in a while I'll go back in there and look at it, and it's something I think that everybody needs to see, because this thing is shattering. And I think it's very important for us to see this here and to see how it goes when we have people who have religious beliefs and trying to debate in the face of facts. And I thought that maybe you would want to do that. But if not, then we can go head on and we can deal with this Jew and Israel is a name and a word and not a person or people.
Well, I don't mind dealing with the Great Debate tape, because I think it's a great tape and it's a great debate that had partaken in 1993. So, like you said, that whole debate was set up by W.L. Lillard, who's the producer of the television show at that time. Year 1993. I had been going around Chicago saying that there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form or been a race, creed, or color by the name of Jesus Christ, and that upset a lot of people in Chicago. So W.L. Lillard took upon himself to try to put me in a trap where I could be defeated in stating those and making those statements about no Jesus Christ. Also at the time, I was saying that we as an African people living in the United States of America are not citizens of the United States of America due to the Constitution that was drawn up in 1787. So that's the reason why the lawyer was on there, tried to repudiate that. As you know, in order to become a lawyer, one has to take the oath to defend the United States Constitution. So that's the reason why the lawyer was there. So that Great Debate tape, I debated Prince Asel ben Israel of the Black Hebrew Israelite group that was headed at that time by Ben Ami, Chicago-based Ben Ami, who was the leader of the Black Hebrew Israelite. And I also debated a very prominent minister here in Chicago, a Christian minister by the name of Reverend Henry Hardy, who pastored a big church here in Chicago. And I also debated one of the Muslim brothers, Munir Muhammad, who was a member of the Nation of Islam, debated him. And again, Jesse L. Bradley, a lawyer, was there to defend the Constitution. And W.L. Lillard had set all this up because he did not agree with what I was talking about at the time. And so he set this whole debate up, and it backfired on him. But anyway, it's a great tape, and one should, I urge everybody to see the tape. So with that being said, I'm going to get into the narration of the subject that we're going to talk about tonight. Now, I want to say this about religion. All religions are based off of one's belief. See, that's the key. That's the glue that keeps all religions together. Belief, not facts, but one's belief. And believing in something that you know nothing about is very, very, very dangerous. So, put that aside, that belief aside. We're not going to talk about belief. We're going to talk about facts tonight. Now, as Tarhaka told the listening audience, to prepare yourself with paper and pen to take down notes. And I want you to take these notes down. And I want you to read these notes until you get the message. Because at this moment, what I'm about to impart is very important for you to understand what has been happening to you and the whole entire world. And it's very simple until you know the facts. It won't be simple, but once you know the facts, it becomes very simple. So let's begin. Get your paper and pen, I hope. Now, we're going to start with the word Jew, J-E-W. Underline that, please. Jew, I want you to write this, is a word and a name and not a people or a person. I'm going to repeat that again. I want you to write down on your paper that Jew, underline Jew, is a word and a name and not a person or a people. That's very, very important to understand that. Once you write that down and you read it over and over again, just that little section what I just gave you, read it over and over again until something clicks in your mind. Now, there's a man I'm going to introduce you to by the name of Shlomo Sand, S-H-L-O-M-O, Sand, S-A-N-D. Shlomo Sand teaches at the University of Tel Aviv in the illegal state of Israel. He wrote a book entitled The Original Torah. And in this book, he wrote a book entitled The Invention of the Jewish People. The Invention of the Jewish People. Now, you don't have to open the book up. Just the title of the book. I want you to understand that. The Invention of the Jewish People. That means that Jews were invented. Not a people, nor a person. So we'll go back. Jew, underline, is a word and a name, and not a person or a people. Go back to Shlomo Sand's book, the invention of the Jewish people. The invention now. You cannot invent people, places, or things. You can't invent that. So take that in and put it in your psychic and keep reading that part over and over and over again until it registers in your mind. Okay? Let's go to the word Israel. Israel, underlined, is a word and a name, but not a person, people, or land. Let's go back over that again. I want you to write now. Israel, underlined, is a word and a name, and not person or a people or land. Now, once you can understand what I just said, something should click in your mind. Now, we're not talking about belief now. We're talking about getting to the facts of these two names, Jew and Israel. Now, in order to have a Jew, in order to have an Israel, you got to have Abraham. You got to have Sarah. You got to have Isaac. And you got to have Jacob. All of these names I just mentioned just a moment ago are biblical names. Names that has attached stories to these names that one has to believe in, because the Bible, where these names come from, is a book that one has to believe in order for you to make the stories in the Bible alive. So, we're going to go this route. And it said that Abraham is biblical, and without the Bible, you will not have an Abraham. Without the Bible, you will not have Sarah, his wife. Without the Bible, you will not have Isaac. Without the Bible, you will not have Jacob. Without the Bible, you will not have Israel. Without the Bible, you will not have Judah. All of these names are originated in the Bible as biblical, Bible-based characters. Non-humans now. So, without the Bible, you would not have any of these names, because all of these names are created in the Bible and for the Bible. The Bible is a book, like I mentioned, that one has to believe in. If you don't believe in the Bible is dead. So you have to believe in the Bible to give the Bible life. So I want to take you to another author, S. David Sperling. You heard me talk about him many times, who is a rabbi who teaches at the Hebrew Union College. He wrote a book in the year 2000. The book is entitled The Original Torah. In his book, The Original Torah, he says there's never been an Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Sarah, Gideon, Esau, David, Solomon, or Joshua. And Walter Williams puts his 2 cents in and says there's never been any biblical character, 99.9 of every biblical character named in the Bible never walked the earth as a human being. So, they are telling you the truth now. They're bringing out the truth, but they're not going to keep the truth out there all day long. You got to either be in a position to understand the truth when you hear the truth or read the truth. So this rabbi who teaches at the Hebrew Union College in New York says there's never been an Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Sarah, Gideon, Esau, or Joshua. See? So he's telling you the truth. So what you have written down, I want you to just dwell on those two names, Jew and Israel. All right, now, like I mentioned before, without Abraham, without Sarah, and without Isaac, and without Jacob, you will not have Jew and Israel. Let's go into Isaac is supposed to be the son of Abraham and Sarah. Isaac is supposed to be the father of Jacob in the Bible. Jacob is the grandson of Abraham and Sarah and the son of Isaac. Jacob has an alias. The alias is Israel. And from that alias name of Israel comes 12 tribes of Israel. One of the tribes, of the 12 tribes of Israel, is Judah. And that is where the word Jew comes from. Judah, J-U-D-A-H, comes J-E-W. They said that Jesus the Christ was a Jew, meaning that he came from the tribe of Judah, which is not true, because there's never been a Jesus come from any tribe. So that's where you get the word Judah from. You get the word Israel from the name of Jacob, with that alias being Jacob, alias Israel. So that's where Israel comes from, Jacob. All Bible-based characters that never walked the earth in human form have been a race creature called by the name of Israel, by the name of Judah, by the name of Isaac, Sarah, or Abraham. All biblical characters. And again, the Bible is a book that one has to believe in. So you have to go over these notes, make these notes, and take these notes as I'm giving it to you. And you can go over them and until it registers in your mind what message that I'm trying to convey to you. There's never been a human Jew. It's all done on paper with narrative stories fed into the mind and the minds of the masses of people throughout the world for one to believe in. Okay? Now, we're going to go to the origin of where these names come from. They come from the Bible. we're going to go into the creation of the Bible. Where it was created, the Bible was created, who formulated the Bible to be formulated and printed, and who created the Bible to be formulated, printed. So let's go to the Renaissance era of Europe, the 15th and 16th century, Renaissance Europe, when the seat of Christianity was moved out of Northeast Africa, which was in Constantinople. Today, Constantinople was called Istanbul, Turkey. Moved out of the double-walled city of Constantinople and the Hagia Sophia, the world's first Christian church. That seat was moved into Europe, into Italy, in 1439 by John VIII, who went a curia or two curias in Florence, Italy, and Ferrara, Italy. The word curia, C-U-R-I-A, means college. So he went during the Renaissance era of Europe in the 15th to 16th century and relinquished what is known in history as the donation of Constantine. By doing that, that seat was made available to be moved into Italy on the outskirts of Rome, which the Roman authorities has given 12 humanists who vowed to receive the seat of Christianity and create a second seat of Christianity, which they did on the outskirts of Rome, near the catacombs. Okay? So now, when this happened, Europe had the only religion in the world pertaining to the Europeans, and that was Christianity. So, and that is where the Bible, and during the time when and where the Bible was first created, the first created Bible was created in Italy, in a town called Bologna, Italy. That Bible was formulated and put together, coming from a collaboration of men such as Johannes Rucellin, Massimo Ficino, Pico della Mirandola. Those three men collaborated together to produce the world's first Bible. Now, in that Bible that was created for the very first time in 1475, it was called the Hebrew Bible. That was the name of it. It wasn't the Old Testament then. It was called the Hebrew Bible. And the Hebrew Bible, like I mentioned before, was consisting of the names that I mentioned, such as Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so forth and so on. Those names were in the creation of that Bible, which for the first time was created in 1475. Okay? So now, that is where the first creation of a Bible, and that is where that Bible containing those biblical names, like I mentioned, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and so forth and so on, came from that particular Bible that was formulated and put together by Johannes Ruslan and his two Italian peers, Lucillo Puccino and Pico della Mirandola. So you don't get an Abraham until you get the creation of this Bible. So I want you to understand that. So let's go a little further down in our lesson for the night. Today, as I speak, you got people walking around calling themselves Jews, and they have created an illusion that they have put money behind. And this illusion that they have created, they have put it on the masses of people to believe. And they have spent billions and billions of dollars to do this, to make it real. Okay? Now, let me explain to you what I'm just told you, that they have spent billions and billions of dollars to make this lie real. Now, that was done in 1868. And 1860. In 1860, a group was formed in Paris, France, called the AIU, Alliance Israelite Universal of Paris, France. They took the Bible, with the stories that's in the Bible, as you read the Bible today with these stories in it, they took those same stories and humanized them, gave it life, gave it human life. And they used money and influence and politics to do that. So in 1860, the AIU was formed, Alliance Israelite Universal of Paris, France. They took the Bible that I just mentioned to you and took the characters in that Bible and tried to make them real. Took the Old Testament and took those characters, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Sarah, Gideon, Esau, and tried to make them real, which they have done thus far, because they have a lot of people involved in their misinformation. But now there's a segment of people, especially in the African community, they come to me and ask me, since you have created 2 books on the subject of Christianity and Islam, what about the historical origin of Judaism? It's so simple. The historical origin of Judaism is so simple. I'll refer you back to your notes that you have taken tonight about Jew is a word and a name and not a person or a people. If you really can understand that click in your psyche, that Jew is a word and a name and not a person or a people, if you could take the word of Israel is a word and a name and not a person, people, or a land. Put that in your psyche. Really read that over and over and over again. So it clicks. This is what they have done to the whole entire world. But they took those two simple facts, two names, biblical names, and they have put billions and billions of dollars behind these two names to make those names alive, to make those names into a people, to make those names real in the minds of the people. But go back to what I mentioned to you about the teacher who teaches at the Tel Aviv University in the illegal state of Israel, the book that he wrote, The Invention of the Jewish People. Invention now, invented. So you can understand the conversation thus far and what you have written down thus far. And keep reading that over and over and over again until it clicks that there's no such thing as a Jew. A Jew has been invented. Israel has been invented. Jew and the name Israel and the word Israel all are Bible-related names. That's where it came from. Not from a people, person, or a land, but was invented for the purpose of making these names alive. And they have spent billions and billions and billions of dollars to do just that. 1860, again, the AIU, going back to that, Alliance Israelite Universal Parish France, took the Bible, took the characters in the Bible, in the Old Testament I'm talking about, and put money, billions of dollars of money, behind these names and stories and fed it to the world, forced it on the world, forced this on the world. See? And if you don't believe in a Jew, then you are anti-Semitic. No such thing as anti-Semitic. But that's what they call you. Because you don't believe in the lie that they're trying to feed to you and make it real in your life for you to accept it. See? And they're over there, as I speak today, they're over there now trying to force this lie upon other people. So, in 1860, they created this organization that I just mentioned, AIU, to make and create a Jew. I'm saying this, I want to keep repeating this over and over again until something clicks in your mind, in your thinking. They took that Bible to do that. That was their blueprint for the creation of a Jew and Israel. You see? So, today, they had men such as Nathan Birnbaum in 1890, who is the father of the father of socialist Zionism. 1896, Theodore Herzl is the father of political Zionism. And they have very powerful men to give them support, financial support. Men such as Edmund James D. Rothschild, who had bought land up in Palestine. And they went to him, Nathan Birnbaum, went to him to build Jewish settlements over there in Palestine. Why? Because the AIU had set up schools all across North Africa into Northeast Africa, that they call the Middle East, such as places like Syria, Turkey, Arabia, even into India, even into China. They had planted Jewish schools and recruit the people living in those areas to come and be taught an ideology called Judaism. So when the United States of America and Great Britain, Cam Weissman, who was a Zionist, before the UN and asked the UN to give Cam Weissman and his group of Zionists a place in Palestine to create a statehood that was granted. I want to tell you this. Today, the so-called Jews speak Hebrew over there. Okay? But before that, they spoke Yiddish. They created dialect created in Germany. Okay? Prior to World War II, but right after World War I. In 1922, to give the Zionists a distinction from other Europeans, they created this dialect called Yiddish. And this Yiddish is supposed to be identified with Jews. Okay? Fine. But now, when the Zionists was given a place in Palestine to create a statehood in 1948, they called for the confiscation, the burning, and the destruction of all Zionist books, papers, plays, or anything with Zionism on it. That's the reason why you don't see Zionism out here today. But you see Hebrew. So in 1948, they took that same Zionist dialogue, or dialect, and they call it Hebrew. Modern Hebrew. This is what they call it. But it's just nothing but Zionism, nothing but Yiddish. That's all it is. Yiddish. So now, if they had Hebrew, why did you have Zionism? That's the question. Why, if you had Hebrew all along, why did you bring in a dialect called Yiddish to identify yourself as being a Jew? Then once you got what you wanted from the United States of America and Great Britain by way of the UN in 1947, in 1948, you call for the destruction, the burning, and the elimination of all Zionist literature, books, papers, plays, anything with Zionism on, destroyed. So you took that Yiddish and you destroyed everything that had Yiddish on there. The Zionists did this. So that is something for you to take in. That is something for you and for us as an African people to understand the tricks that has been played upon us out here, and in fact the whole world. So with that, Brother Tarhaka, I want to yield the floor back to you.
All right, Dr. Williams, you did a fantastic job. That was an excellent delivery, and I'm hoping that everyone wrote down the information that you gave us. And I see we got another caller with his hands raised at area code 312. I'm going to open up that phone line and bring him in. Area code 312, you're on the air.
Yes, sir. Top of the evening to you, Tarhaka. This is Brother Yoel in Chicago from the Underground Bookstore, listening in and trying to be a good student and got my pencil in hand like everybody else should have. So,
I hear you. Welcome.
Yes, thank you. And top of the
right,
evening to your the listening audience as well.
All right, fantastic.
And ask questions.
Brother Yoel, I'm pretty sure that you should have some books in your bookstore as well. I know you got Dr. Williams' book, The Historical Origins of Christianity and the Historical Origins of Islam. But
yes, sir.
Do you have any other books that can lend more weight and credence to what Dr. Williams has told us tonight in regard to the Jew and Israel is a name and a word and not a person or a people?
Well, I do carry the one that he mentioned. Well, I forgot about Dr. Williams, of course. Good evening to you, too. Okay? Excuse my negligence. I do carry the book that he mentioned about Shlomo. I'm not sure if I got any copies right now, but I can get it. So that's no problem. And then there's some other books that have been written, yes, on the subject of who they are or who they ain't, more likely. But they don't come, they may not necessarily come at an angle that like Dr. Williams is doing. You know, so yes, we do carry some other books.
Okay, all right, fantastic. So what are your thoughts on what Dr. Williams
I think one of the things that I think about, I've always thought about over the years is these people never really refer to themselves in the biblical sense that, as Israelites. So I wonder why. But they never call themselves Israelites like it's written in the Bible. So they call themselves, if you listen to the evening news, they say the Israeli government today did such and such, right? So I wonder why they say Israeli instead of Israelite government. There's no Israeli in the Bible, but I think they're just operating like, if you say I am, then I am, but I didn't tell you that I was, that people in the book. So I've always been suspect of that, and why they didn't use those words from there. It's just kind of the same situation that's playing out in South Africa with the South Africans and the Afrikaners. And Afrikaners, you would think that some people would think that that's the South Africans, the native people or the Aboriginal people, but that's not. That's the mixture of people, and it refers to a mixture of people. But they it's kind of like they throw you off. They kind of hint at it, and if you think that you're talking to the original, you're not. And that kind of thing. So with Israel, I think they kind of make you believe that they who they are, but they got you thinking that, and they not like this guy's a Jew he's talking about. That said that there was no Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and all that kind of stuff. So therefore, and he's in Tel Aviv. I'd like to know, how they receive him before they talk about jumping on us. He's right there. He's one of yours, and he's right in Israel. So what will you do? What do you do to him if he's still living and he has no problem? Then they obviously agree with what he says, and they have no problem with what he says. So why should we have a problem with it?
Okay. Well, here, Brother Yoel, let me jump in here and answer that for you. He waited 10 years until he got his tenure at the University of Tel Aviv before he came out with the book, The Invention of the Jewish People. He waited on purpose 10 years before he jumped out there for his tenure to be available. So therefore, they couldn't fire him. Now, what they can do is that the book was released to the public, but what they can do, they can stop the publication of the book or buy up all the books that's being being printed under that title of the invention of the Jewish people. They can buy up all those titles up and keep it from hitting the world market. So I just want to interject there, but go ahead.
Well, if they haven't done it already, then they obviously he got some friends or some other folks there that probably agree with him, and they just playing this thing out. So that kind of, I mean, it puts us back to the ball back in our course is why are we going to believe that they are a people or a nation using that name, and they're not having a problem with it. That's all.
Well, here, again, Brother Tarhaka, the masses of the people are inundated by the news, radio, television, cable, podcasts, blog talk, everywhere. They're inundated with this idea of a Jew. You got synagogues, you got the Ark of the Covenant, and so forth and so on. You got all these stories that is fed to the masses of the people 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Everywhere they go, they're hearing it. So they don't know. In order for you to really find out the truth, like I have researched and searched for 46, going on 47 years to find the truth, you have to be conscious of something being wrong. You have to study the discipline of history. That's the key. If you don't study the discipline of history and you look at ball games and other trivia stuff that you bring in your life, you're not going to ever know this because it won't matter to you. So, hey, that's not my subject. That's not my thoughts. So I don't care what happened or what they said. They said, this is Israel, fine. They said, this is the Jew, good. It's okay. So that's how they do that. The news media keeps it going 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Well, I have to agree with you on that, Dr. Williams, because one thing I know is once you tell a lie, you have to constantly do maintenance on that lie, keep that lie propped up, keep it shored up, and continue to broadcast the lie as if it's a fact. Because once truth comes out, the lie starts collapsing like it's doing right now. But anytime you tell a lie, you're going to have to keep telling that lie. You can't just tell a lie and just walk away from it. Now, the truth, you can do that. Once you tell the truth, put the truth right there, that's it. The truth is truth. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. The truth is just going to be there. It ain't going nowhere. But a lie, you have to continue to do maintenance on that lie.
And I find certain things very, very interesting. And if you use just common sense, we take this country that we live in here today. How could there be a place called the United States of America when there were people already here on this land for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years prior to anybody coming from somewhere else calling it America? That means we have another lie. And of course, they've been, well, the United States and the United States of America and so on and so on and so on and so forth, and the media is backing up, and they're constantly doing verbal maintenance to the side. Then you got nationality. You got Chinese people, there's a land called China. You got Japan people, Japan and the Japanese people. You got Korean people, and so on and so forth. Well, we got people in India, a land called India, call themselves Indians, but now over here in the United States of America, what they're saying is we have the American Indian. Well, hold on a minute. Where they land at? So we got American Indians. Well, there should be a place called American Indian land. Well, where is that? Then we got black people, colored people, a whole nationless people, and all this kind of stuff going on. So there's a tremendous amount of lies that have to be maintained, and maintenance have to be done on these lies in order for the lie to continue. So you're absolutely correct. You have anything else you want to add, Brother Joel?
No, not right now.
Okay. What about you, Dr. Williams?
Go back to Dr. Williams.
Well, the thing I have to say is this. Any human on earth that has embraced a religion, they have embraced that religion out of ignorance. I'm not using that word to criticize or degrade the individual, because I myself was ignorant at one time. All of us were ignorant at one time until we came into the light of the truth. Now, when an individual comes into this world, their parents or whoever raised them introduce them to a religion. They're in their early child developing age. So they don't know because they trust their parents and thinking that their parents telling them the truth because they have no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
So they grow up to be a Christian. They grow up to be a black Hebrew Israelite. They grow up to be a Jew. They grow up to be a Buddhist, etc., etc. Whatever religion or Muslim or whatever religion that their parents or who raised them brings to them. Now, but see, they don't realize when you embrace a religion, you don't realize what that religion has done to you by way of damage. Now, I said this, and the reason why I'm saying that is this. No human on earth was born with a religion. If an individual can really understand that. See, I, Walter Williams, was not born with a religion. I, Tarhaka, Bay, was not born with a religion. I, Yoel, Brother Yoel, was not born with a religion. So now what were you born with as a human being? You were born with an indwelling divine spirit. That's your birthright that was given to you by your mother and father who created you. That's what you was given. If you realize that I, Walter Williams, or whatever your name may be, was not born with a religion, but I was born with an indwelling divine spiritual birthright given to me by my mother and father. who created me. And so they don't know anything about their pineal gland, sensory organ that sits in the middle of the brain to serve as a receiver and a sender between them, the human being, and their own personal universe. You see? Now, man creates a religion for man to control the thinking and the actions of man. That's what religions are about. That's where the lie comes in. Because religions, all of them, no matter what name you may call them, is based off of mythology, something that's not real. You, the human being, have the real deal. The real deal is that your divine indwelling spiritual birthright. That's what you were born with. See, so if you can really understand the difference between those two, then all religions will be eliminated, because religion steals the humanity away from the human being, steals it by confusing that individual to who he or she is as a human being. See, so that's one of the things I have to say about it. Tarhaka.
Okay. All right. Well, what I'm going to do is take a little quick break, and when we come back, then we can take up from where we left off at. So y'all hold on a minute. I'll mute your mics, and we'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope we are getting something out of this here. And the number to dial into the broadcast is 319-527-6733. Press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you got something to say, and we'll let you in, okay? 319-527-6733. Press 1. Real estate is booming today. But one thing I learned a long time ago about mortgages and foreclosures: the real estate market goes in cycles, up and down. The best thing to do is get out of that type of situation early. The U.S. corporation is still operating in a bankrupt state today. Make no mistake about it. When it comes to your home, the bank has no skin in the game. When you sign for your home, it was paid for. Learn how to do that. The IRS is a private for-profit corporation. Learn how to deal with that. Go to TarhakaDebtElimination.org. That's TarhakaDebtElimination.org. How do you discharge debt? How do you write it up? What do you do? Learn how to do that. Contact me, Tarhaka Amana El Bey. Go to TarhakaDebtElimination.org. Peace. Hi, I'm Tarhaka. By January the 26th or 28th, 2022, the U.S. government corporation will begin calling for full payment of student loan debt again. The pause will be over. Don't wait until the last minute. Get out of debt now. You have plenty of time now. Go to www.TarhakaDebtElimination.org. That's TarhakaDebtElimination.org. It's just like someone filing bankruptcy. After you have filed and the deadline arrives, you still owe the debt. It's a scam. Go to TarhakaDebtElimination.org. Contact me, Tarhaka, for what you need to solve the problem. Peace. Don't.
What happens when someone tries to revise the history of your people? This is something that Ashkenazi Jews face due to a false but oft-repeated academic theory about their ancestral origin. What is this debunked origin story? Why are some people sharing it? And what does it say about Ashkenazi Jews and, more importantly, those who are spreading disinformation about them? First, some necessary background info. The two largest communities or denominations within Judaism are Sephardim and Ashkenazim. Today's Sephardim, or Sephardic Jews, are the descendants of the Jews who arrived on the Iberian Peninsula after the Babylonian and Roman exiles, before fleeing to southern Europe, the Balkans, and North Africa after the Alhambra Decree, a record that is not contested. Ashkenazim, or Ashkenazi Jews, are those whose ancestors arrived in the Danube Valley and Rhineland areas after the Roman exile, with some accounts dating as far back as 321 CE, but there are some who call these historical events into question. A hypothesis dating back to the late 1800s states that Ashkenazi Jews are all descendants of the Khazars. In the 600s CE, in southeast Russia, a multi-ethnic conglomerate of Turkic people founded a powerful state made up of people from many different ethnicities. This was the kingdom of Khazaria. The theory goes that in the 8th century, the Khazar ruling class converted en masse to Judaism on the instruction of their ruler. According to this line of reasoning, these Jews didn't migrate from Jerusalem and Babylonia into France and Germany, but rather migrated from modern Russia and Ukraine. The lack of proof for the theory hasn't prevented it from catching on with a number of geneticists, historians, linguists, and laypeople. It even has support from academics at universities in Tel Aviv and Sheffield, England. The problem is that the kingdom of Khazaria was destroyed sometime in the late first millennium, and the next time we have records of Jews in that area, today's western Ukraine and Belarus, is over 400 years later. Additionally, DNA tests have shown a close relationship between Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews, as well as a connection to other Middle Eastern people, but no connection between Ashkenazi Jews and the Khazars. The Khazar theory is also dead on arrival from a linguistic perspective. The main language of the Ashkenazi Jews, Yiddish, shows no trace of Turkic origin. Yiddish is considered a Germanic language, with Hebrew and Aramaic words thrown in. As the Yiddish linguist and author Alexander Bieder puts it, the personal names and surnames borne by Jews in Eastern Europe during the last 6 centuries, as well as the Yiddish language as a whole, do not contain any link to Khazaria. So, who's pushing this theory? Well, certain academics, for one. Their hypothesis got a big bump in 1976, when a writer and amateur anthropologist named Arthur Kessler published the now-debunked book, The 13th Tribe. Kessler thought that by proving Ashkenazi Jews were actually more European than Semitic, it would upend the foundations of European anti-Semitism. Ironically, Kessler's claims only served to feed anti-Semitism by accidentally resurrecting a theory that would only go on to serve the interests of bigots and the uninformed. After its publication, supporters expounded upon his claims even further, while detractors called it anti-Semitic. But why would the hypothesis be anti-Semitic instead of just another scholarly theory? It makes more sense when you look at some of the recent supporters of the theory, especially those outside of academia. These include online commenters, who use it to delegitimize the Jewish people by classifying them as a fake nation, and even political leaders like the Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas. In a 2018 speech delivered to the Palestinian Liberation Organization's legislative body, Abbas quoted Kessler and his theory that Ashkenazi Jews are descended from the Khazars, not the biblical Israelites. The allure of the hypothesis to someone like Abbas is clear. It delegitimizes Jewish claims on the land of Israel. If Ashkenazim came from what's now Russia, then the assertions of an ancestral nationhood in the ancient land of Israel are easily dismissed. Too bad for Abbas that the science is not on his side, and that the genetic findings of Ashkenazi Jews point to people of Middle Eastern origin, not Turkic or Russian. It's also worth stating that the theory, and the subsequent not your land accusations thrown at Jews, completely discounts Sephardi and other Jewish communities, and makes it seem as if Ashkenazim and Ashkenazim alone are the only Jews, which is of course preposterous. It's not a stretch to say that throughout the centuries, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, and racist tropes have followed a similar path. Unfounded ideas that gain a foothold because they serve the interests of anti-religious bigotry, claims of genetic superiority, and political ostracism. It's always fun to learn about conspiracy theories. Sure, everyone loves believing that Tupac is still alive, that there was a second shooter on the grassy knoll, or that the moon landing was nothing but a Stanley Kubrick short film. But let's remember that they are just that, conspiracy theories. They're an entertaining showcase of the human imagination, but to take them seriously without doing some research, not a good look. Ashkenazi Jews are definitely Jews, despite any debunked hypotheses that claim otherwise. In a world with limitless information at our fingertips, it's our responsibility to be informed consumers and to make an effort to sort out fact from fiction. Thanks for watching. If you like what we're doing here, consider subscribing. And if there's something you want to see us tackle in an upcoming video, be sure to let us know in the comments below.
All right, everybody, we're back, and I'm going to open up the phone lines for my brother. See, we got another caller with his hand raised at area code 917. Open that line up. 917, you're on the air. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, and what's your question or comment.
Hey, good evening, Hotep, East Coast.
Hotep.
And, hey, Just a comment regarding the themes I see on your blog talk, Jew. There was no alphabetic letter J in any language until 1524. So when people use Jew, Jerusalem, Jesus, all that, they have been taught to think with modern linguistics, but then they try to apply modern linguistics to the names of people that never had the name, if the people existed at all. So the easiest way to fool folks is to take a historic character. That's like calling Barack Obama in 300 years, calling him Zazi. So who is Zazi? The original Hebrew people were Africans. A group of Africans, let me clarify. Not all Africans are Hebrew. But from my research, it indicates that in Egypt and Ethiopia, the original Hebrew people, and people that know geography know those two regions are right near each other. And if I could get further research, even Sigmund Freud, the genius from the white world, wrote papers indicating that Akhenaten, King Tut's father, was the biblical Moses. He actually took his people to a promised land, and he had them creating, worshiping one God. Well, one deity. God is a Christian concept. And that deity was named Aten. That's why he changed his name to Akhenaten. And there's zero evidence that anyone else wrote about monotheism other than Akhenaten. Now, it's possible that someone did, but it definitely wasn't in Christianity and in traditional white Judaism, nor in Hinduism, nor in Buddhism, etc. So darker people are the first of almost everything that is positive on the planet, but racism, of course, has been used by the white Jews. Not all of them, because I don't think most of them even know this, but they're following their leaders to keep darker humans down to then extract their wealth from all the parts of the world where they're the majority, and to create the urban ghettos where the darker humans are often stigmatized, traumatized, brutalized, and vulnerable. So thank you for a great theme, and hopefully more people can open their eyes. And in my opinion, Jesus didn't even exist, nor did Horus. Horus is what Jesus comes from. But I call myself Hotep. Yeah.
Hello, don't hang up.
Okay.
I hear you say that the letter J was created in 1524?
No, the alphabetical letter existed. Yeah.
In 1524?
That's correct.
I repudiate that simply because it was in 1630 that the letter J was created from the letter I. They took the letter I and brought it below the line and put a curl on it, and that became the letter J. That was in 1630. In my book, The Historical Origin of Christianity, my ex-wife, wrote a chapter on that called The Historical Origin of the Letter J. So the letter J was created in 1630, not 1524.
Well, can I give you a response? In 1524, Gian, G-I-A-N, G-I-O, or G-I-O, Trisoni, an Italian Renaissance grammarian, he's known as the father of the letter J because he made a clear distinction between the sounds for 1524.
1524. Okay.
Yeah. And what he did was
are you aware of who created the world's first alphabet?
I think was in Mesopotamia.
No, Mesopotamia is biblical.
No, some of the Bible is correct. Not all of it is wrong.
You can't. There's nothing in the Bible is historical. Nothing. Mesopotamia is in the Bible. Now, there's a documentary I'll call In Search of God with Morgan Freeman, the actors in it. He went all over the world looking for God, and he landed in the legal state of Israel at the home of a female rabbi. She told him, sitting at the dinner table, that the Bible is not a history book, but a book of ideas. So the Bible is not a history book. S. David Sperling, who wrote a book called The Original Torah, said that he was compelled to read the Torah allegorically because it cannot be read historically. So what you are doing is that you are believing in biblical theology, and you're using your belief in biblical theology and try to make that human history. It's not, it can't be done. So
I thank you for that feedback, but you're wrong about me. First of all, I'm an atheist, so you're applying a description to, brother, do you mind if I finish? Because I listened to what you said about me without knowing me. And if I could, as black man to black man, have the honor of a rebuttal, that would be great, because a lot of young people will listen to this, and I do this for the young people. Us older folks, we're on our way out. I am not theological. I am an atheist. What I do, however, is go into and look at Islam, Judaism, so-called Christianity, Rastafarianism, to find out, A, why they think the way they do, and what aspects of their publications and beliefs are true, because not everything from all these religions is myth. What they did was they took some facts and some mythological characters that existed, and at various ecumenical councils in the case of Christianity, and Jesus, of course, wasn't even a Christian, nor was his name Jesus, if he existed, and they mixed it in, and there were different schisms, and then we got the Protestant Reformation, etc. But I know you're not going to agree, it sounds like, because you don't want to have a dialectic. Maybe you want to just put me in place, and that's fine.
Give me a fact, what you're talking about. That's all I'm saying. What's your fact?
Well, King Solomon.
Huh? Who?
And King Solomon and the gentleman that they claim killed Jesus, he actually existed. So you're saying that nothing in the Bible is true is not true. Some of the facts are true, but they twist. But you want to talk. You have your conversation. Since this is not a dialectic, you're debating, and I don't debate because it's not a wise investment of time. Young people need to learn.
Thank you so much for your call.
All right. Thank you, young man, for calling in. We have another caller with this hand raised, that area code 813. I'm going to open up the phone line. And I just come out the chat room, and I think this is the same person that wants to say an Egyptian prayer for Anetta Williams. That be okay with you, Dr. Williams?
Well, he wants to do what now?
He wants to do an Egyptian prayer.
For my deceased wife?
Yes.
Well, I don't know what that prayer is about, but he can go ahead and do the prayer if it's not to my liking.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone line now. Area code 813, you're on the air. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, and what you have to say in regards to our guest. Tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Oscar. I'm calling from Tampa, Florida. I've called it many times, so I just wanted to, I'm an atheist too, but I just wanted to say that Arnetta Williams, she was a beautiful and kind lady, and that she really influenced me a lot. And she influenced me by writing that chapter on page 199 of the Historical Origin of Islam called What Happened to the Hagia Sophia. And I just wanted to say, so Beck, get back. And Osiris, your job is not through yet. Open your arms. And you, along with your Marys, you have a new angel at your doorstep. So welcome her into Dua. I hold up my ankh and I vouch for her, Arnetta Williams. We love you. We appreciate you. And Godspeed, Amin Ra. Now hook up. So that's all I had to say about that issue. Now, another issue going into it would be, I just wanted to know, Dr. Stump.
Can you stop right there, please?
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
For that honor and recognition that you gave my wife. I am touched by that. Thank you so much. I just want to tell you that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. It's my pleasure.
I'm touched. I'm really touched. Thank you so much. Okay, go ahead with your next.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I didn't want to get too emotional, but I just wanted to just let you know that I had missed you, and Tarhaka let me know why you may not have been on the show recently. But anyway, my question to you would be: did the Moors teach the Knights Templar how to build during the Crusades?
Did the Moors do what now?
Did the Moors teach the Knights Templar? Did the Moors teach the Jewish mercenaries who enlisted in the Crusades, the Jewish missionaries? Did the Moors teach these people how to build the temples, the Crusader states?
Well, let me put it like this. The Moors did not. The Moors' time in world history and the Knights Templar times in world history is way, way many years apart. The Knights Templars came and was created among the army of Godfrey and his brother Baldwin, who led the army that was sent over there in northeast Africa, that they call the Middle East, by a baron named Solomon Isaac, alias Rashid. That was his personal army. He financed Godfrey of Jabulian and his brother Baldwin for that, to answer the call of Alexis I Commensals in 1099. So they landed over there in what is known today as Jerusalem, Godfrey and his brother Baldwin. Among the men in his army, they formed a secret society in 1118 called the Knights Templars. They built a double wall around Jerusalem, and they learned the building trades from our ancient Egyptian ancestors. And that trade that was taught to them by our ancient Egyptian ancestors enabled them to build this wall as well as build other buildings such as temples and preceptories and so forth and so on. So in the army in 1118 of Godfrey and Baldwin came a secret society called the Knights Templars. 10 years later, in 1128, rich barons at the Council of Trees in Trees, France, elected Hugh de Payne to be the first Grand Master of the Knights Templars. So that's, then the Moors did not come about until 1091 in Spain, when the Spanish-speaking people in 1091 asked our ancient Egyptian ancestors to bring civilization to uncivilized Spain. So you're talking about two different spots on Earth and two different times, you see. So the word Moor is only a nickname, because the ancient Egyptians who were asked to come into Spain to bring civilization to Spain in 1091, they used the country called Morocco because of the Strait of Gibraltar. The Strait of Gibraltar is the land extension coming out of Morocco that will give an individual a closer contact to the shores of Spain. In other words, at the end of the Strait of Gibraltar, you have to take a boat and travel 8.9 miles to reach the shores of Spain. Once they reach the shores of Spain, the Spanish-speaking people call them black Moors. And black Moors, and the word black means Negro. A Negro means black, which is synonymous. So that's two different histories. But go ahead.
All right. Yes, sir. And in AD times, were Jews ever enslaved or studying in Egypt, like in the 8th, 9th, 10th century AD?
No.
Or in
no,
anywhere in Northeast Africa?
No, see, you missed the whole thing I was teaching tonight. There's never been a human walking the earth by the name of a Jew. So human Jews. I'll take you back over the lesson. Now listen closely now.
Oh, yes, sir. I understand that. There's that Moses Maimon, and I have Shlomo Sand's book. I have your books. I totally understand what you're saying. I'm saying later on, like, did any of these Jewish people, Moses Maimon, didn't he die in Egypt?
Yeah, but here, let me go back again, where you missed the whole thing. Jew, underline, is a word and a name, and not a people or a place. See, Jew is a word and a name, and not a people or a place.
Yes, sir. So these would have just been like aristocratic kind of financiers and people who are rich enough to travel to the Hagia Sophia, or people who are rich enough to travel to Egypt to learn?
You're missing the point about the Jew. Still missing it. Jew is a word and a name, and not a person or a people. It's not a person or a people. Jew is a word and a name, and not a person or a people. No such thing as a Jew.
Yes, sir. I definitely understand exactly where you're coming from.
So don't put no Jews no place. It's all been fabricated. It's all a lie. That's the lie that they want to feed to the masses of the people. Israel is a word and a name, and not a person, people, or a land area.
Yes, sir. And we know that Islam was created by Jews. So didn't you say that the Kaaba represents some type of holy tabernacle or Ark of the Covenant or something like that that deals with Judaism?
But listen, the Kaaba, all that's based off of mythology, because there's never been an Abraham for that to happen. So there was no Abraham, there's no Abraham, there's no Kaaba. No story of,
yes, sir.
Of Hagar.
Yes, sir.
No story of Ishmael. See, you got to have an Abraham to have an Ishmael. You got to have a Abraham to have a Hagar. You got to have an Abraham to have that story about the Kaaba.
All right. And my very last question is, I'm actually from Senegal. Well, I'm not from Senegal. I'm from Denver, Colorado, but my dad was from Senegal, and Senegal is like 99.9% Muslim. And when I went over there, I'm an atheist, so I try to tell my people, I try to ask them questions about why they believe in that stuff. And I told them, I said, but before Islam, what were you? Before Islam, they said, oh no, my dad was Muslim, all my dads were Muslim, they were Muslim before that. They just say, they stick to that story. So I'm asking you, did Jews, just the way that they set up these missionaries, like the AIU, and they set up these, Hebrew schools that teach people how to be Jews, did they start Islamic schools in Senegal? Or how did people in West Africa, not just Senegal, but people in, Mali and all those other West African highly Muslim countries, how did they become Muslim?
Well, you have to go back in history, and you have to find out when Islam came on the scene of world history, where it came from, who brought it to the world, by way of man-made religion. Islam is based upon a book called the Quran. The Quran was not created until 1870 in Syria, put together by the AIU, members of the AIU, Alliance Israelite Universal Parish Friends, who formulated their organization in 1860, seeing that the Mohammedan world did not have any literature. Now, before Islam, that was Mohammedanism. Two different ideologies right there. So, in 1919, after 49 years, after the creation of this book called the Quran, you came to acceptance of the Quran and Islam in 1919 in Cairo, Egypt. The first meeting in Islam's history was 1926. You see that?
Yes, sir. So, so how did go ahead.
I'm gonna get there. 1926. That's the first meeting in Islam's history. So, from 1926, you had the acceptance of Islam. Now, you got to go back to the time when Christianity was enforced on the African continent. That was in 18 in the 1830s and 40s, when Christianity was first introduced on the African continent. Along with the introduction of Christianity, you also had the introduction of Islam, where they could find people that they can influence in accepting these various religions, and synagogue was one of the ones that accepted what we know today as Islam. That's the reason why you see them speaking about and telling you about Islam. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'll give you back the floor. Hold on. You take the people of Ethiopia today as I speak. They cannot tell you how they got to be Christians and philosopher Jews. They can't tell you that. They can't tell you that. Because they were accepted and they were influenced by Christianity in 1855. So from 1855 to the present day is 160-some or 70-some years. See that this Christianity has been in Ethiopia, but the Ethiopians today cannot tell you how they got to be Christians or philosopher Jews. People in synagogue cannot tell you how they got to be Muslims. You see? Because it's been such a long time, and generations have passed and come and died and come and gone like that. You see? So that would be my answer to you.
All right, brother. Thank you so much for all of your time. I really appreciate you. And, yeah, I don't want to clog all your time, but once again, my condolences to you, and I just wanted to let you know I love and appreciate you and Tarhaka for everything that you do and just allowing me the platform to ask my questions. And I just wanted to know, Dr. Walter Williams, do you have any post office box or anything that we can show some love offerings to you?
Yeah, I have a post office box, P.O. Box 37, 3755. Let me see, what is that box number? It's in my book.
Yeah, take your time. You don't have to. You can get it by the end of the lesson, by the end of the show. Just make sure you tell us so we can show you some love. And we don't want you out here like some of our other black scholars that died with nothing and died broke after they sacrificed their lives. So everybody, if you can, shout them out. Send them something.
Well, I put it like this. I never solicit any money from the general public. I'm not in need of money. I mean, I'm not bragging. I'm not telling you not to send anything to me, but I'm not a poor man. I'm not a poor man, really. I've never been poor. You know, all my adult life, I've had money. I've made a lot of money. In the construction business, I own a lot of apartment buildings. I sold them and so forth and so on. So I am not in need of money. However, if you want to give me some money, I will not turn it down.
Mhm. Yeah, you're not. I know. I'm soliciting money on your behalf.
Hmm.
So what I'm saying, because you deserve it. So, like I said, you know, I'm gonna, and not just money. You know, if I just wanted to send you a card or just something to show that I appreciate you, whatever the case. So please, yeah, definitely give us that PO box, please.
Okay. What is it? 3775, something like that. I've been so messed up since my wife died.
I understand, and the great thing about this show is that Tarhaka always uploads it to YouTube with some pictures, so he can always just put it on, you know, the YouTube channel. Put your PO box on there later when he uploads the show.
Okay, Brother Yoel, do you have one of my books there, of Tarhaka?
Okay, I don't have it handy, but let me get it 1 second. You got your
I know
PO box on the back of the book.
I know I have your historical origin of Christianity right here on my desk.
Look at that.
Look on the back and see if it's PO box.
No, it's not on the back. Look in the inside cover there. You see a pure MAATHIAN press post office box.
Hold on. All right, everybody. The Dr. Walter Williams, his P.O. box is spelled MAATHIAN Press, MAATHIAN Press, P.O. box.
That's Walter Williams.
Walter Williams.
Post office
P.O. box 377655. I repeat that. That's P.O. box 377655, Chicago, Illinois 60637, U.S.A.
Right. So that's post office box.
All right, brother.
37. What is it? 37.
I just put it down, brother. Let me pick it back up for you.
Okay.
377655.
377655. Post office box 377655. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, that's it. I'm kind of discombobulated here.
We understand. Don't even worry about it, Dr. Walter Williams. Thank you so much for all your time. Thank you, Tarhaka. Have a blessed night. Ma'at Hotep.
Ma'at Hotep.
All right.
I love you.
Ma'at Hotep.
Love you guys. Bye.
Okay.
All right. Peace. Okay. Brother Yoel, you still with us, man? Brother Yoel might
yes, I'm here, brother. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, what else you want to share with us, brother, tonight in regards to this Jew and these Israelites actually being a people?
I don't think Professor Williams is quite finished with how he's going to wrap it all up, or yet I don't believe. Are you, Professor?
Well, we're just coasting along now and taking it and playing it by ear. Right now, callers may call in, they ask questions and things like that. We can deal with that, you know. So we just play it by ear. So whatever you want to put into the conversation, bring it on.
Okay. Well, I think that what has happened is this whole thing is that, let's say everything Professor Williams saying about the Bible and the creation of all this is true. You can't deny the fact that you came here as a spirit being and not a religious being with a religion. You can't deny that. They should be able to wrap their minds around that part. But I think with respect to the Bible, when you look at it, if this is not real, somebody concocted a real story that these so-called people called Jews have injected themselves into it and decided to play out this actor in the world scheme of things. And everybody has acknowledged him as such, since he owns all of the media outlets, whether it be TV, newspapers, and all of that. He successfully got himself in that position. But of course that's crumbling because more and more people today are realizing that, or getting the word that there is none. And Professor Williams' book is selling so good that I'm pretty sure a lot of people are getting the word of who they are and what they're not. You there?
You're right. Yeah.
Tarhaka?
You're right.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So basically, I mean, that's a glass house, and it's starting to break. It's coming apart.
That's correct. Certainly is. Now, that called and said he was an atheist. Okay, you can be an atheist. Nothing wrong with that. You can be an agnostic. Nothing wrong with that. But what he has done by being an atheist, he said, I'm going to go and study and learn about these religions out here. I can defend myself when I tell people that I am an atheist. And then I can, after learning about these various religions, then I'll have something to argue with or debate with. Well, see, that's the wrong approach. Maybe it's not wrong for him, but if you're going to learn human history, don't start off with the Bible, saying Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia never existed. There's no place on earth where you can find Mesopotamia, only in the Bible, and so forth and so on. But anyway, you have any other callers, Brother Tarhaka?
No, not right now, Dr. Williams. Not right now. The number to dial into the broadcast again, for those who are listening, is 319-527-6733. And you press 1 on the phone. I also want to bring to the listening audience attention that we will no longer be using the ancient Egyptian at msn.com to contact Dr. Williams. We have a new email address for him. It is vienea@gmail.com. That's V as in Victor, I as in industry, E as in Elvin, N as in Nancy, E as in Elvin, and A as in Apple at gmail.com. That is our contact email address for Dr. Williams. Okay, we'll be putting this information out, and of course he'll be able to repeat the same thing after we go off in the air. But Dr. Williams, I want to ask you, now when it comes to this Jew thing, because I know you was telling us about the people on the Lombard Street that I forgot exactly where you said it was. These are the same Ashkenazis that we're talking about?
There's no such thing as an Ashkenazi. That's
okay.
Eastern is an Eastern Jew. Sephardic Jew is a Spanish Jew. no such thing as a Jew. See, when you talk about, you cannot hold a conversation about Jews because there's never been a Jew. I broke it down in it's so simple that people are missing it.
Mm-hmm.
Jew, listen now. When I say listen, I'm talking about you and the other listening audience. Jew is a word and a name, and not a people or a person. Jew is a word and a name, and not a people or a person. Okay? So,
Okay.
Israel is a word and a name, and not a person, people, or land. So now, that's all you need to know. Right there, what I just told you there. Okay? If you can really understand that, then the conversation about Jews is over with. Because there's no such thing. Jew and Israel comes from Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? I broke all that down. So once you understand that, why go any further? There's nothing to go further about. See? So then what they did with those two names, they have created a whole Old Testament Bible. They have created a whole people off of it. Shlomo saying in his book, The Invention of the Jewish People, the one who teaches at the Tel Aviv University in the illegal state of Israel, wrote this book entitled The Invention of the Jewish People. He's telling you right there they invented. S. David Spurgeon in his book, The Original Torah, says there's never been an Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Sarah, Gideon, Esau, David, or Solomon, or Joshua. He's telling you right there that these names never existed. So why go any further into talking about Jews? You don't need to talk about there's no Jews. You see? And he said, as David Spurgeon said, he is compelled to read the Torah allegorically because it cannot be read historically. The rabbi told Morgan Freeman at her dinner table in the legal state of Israel, said the Bible is not a history book, but a book of ideas. See? So, beyond those two names, don't go any further. If you can really understand what I said about those two names, Jew is a name, is a word and a name, and not a person or a people. Israel is a word and a name, and not a person, people, or land. That's it. Don't go any further. Don't talk about no Jews, no Ashkenazi Jews, and no Sephardic Jews, and the Jews of Khazar and all that, the 13th tribe and all that. Don't talk about that foolishness. Because if you really understand what I said about those two names and where it came from, it's over with. You don't need to go any further. How can I hold a conversation after that about some Jews? Conversation is over with. I told you, Jew is a name and a word and not a person or a people. Very simple. End of argument. Don't go any further about some Jews. Don't bring up no Jews about nowhere talking about and no subject about some Jews. I told you, Jew is a word and a name, and not a person or a people. So no more saying in his book, the invention of the Jewish people, he's telling you that the Jewish people ideology has been invented. So now why you all talk about some Jews? See that? That's why I was telling you about this other caller. He's an atheist, yes, that's fine. But he said, well, I'm going to sit out and study. And you can't tell him nothing. He says the name, the letter J came out and was invented in 1524. No, that's not true. Read my book, The Historical Origin of Christianity, chapter 9. My late wife wrote that chapter. And it was 1630 when they took the letter I, took it down below the line and put a curl on it and made J out of it. See, that's history. See, but you can't tell certain people anything. They everything you said, they know all about it, and they go all off into Mesopotamia and all into the Bible, all about Jews. Please give me a break. Again, Jew is a word and a name, and not a person or a people. Israel is a word and a name, and not a person, people, or land. So now, that's it. Please, and it's so simple that people miss it. They go off and talk about Jews. They did this, and the Jews did. No. You know, it took me many years, Brother Tarhaka and Brother Yoel, took me many years to find that simple fact and truth. Just that simple thing. Just that simple thing. About those two words. Just let it go over and over in your psyche. And you say, oh my goodness, that's the historical origin of Judaism right there. That's the historical origin of it. So I yield back to you, Brother Tarhaka.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to see how we can topple this thing, because I don't. I already know if it's come out it's all part of biblical literature, but people cannot seem to turn that Bible loose, even though they can't get any factual references from any place else. They just simply rely on that as fact, and is ready to debate you and argue with you, and it's amazing. So I guess we just have to take our time and just keep telling the truth, and sooner or later, as we go along, people will wake up, and then a few more may actually take the time to do an investigation for themselves. That's the thing, doing an investigation for yourself, in spite of what you've been believing all this time, because most of us, we think that something is true just because we've been saying it a long time. And that's a trap that a lot of people get in.
Not only that, but the news media brainwashes the people of the world with these various religions. Why? Because the news media is owned by the people who has money and the means to promote it.
Mm-hmm.
See? But it's so simple. I overlooked it for 46 years. Overlooked it. Staring me in my face. That's the reason why I have not written a book called The Historical Origin of Judaism. Because Judaism as a religion, it's got layers upon 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 layers of lies.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how they keep it propped up.
Right. And it's all around you. The news media is shooting at you all year long. Okay? Yeah. And you go to college, university, there's teaching you all this stuff. Keeping it going. You know. So people are inundated with this lie. So it dawned on me one day, and I went and broke it all down, and it was so simple. I couldn't go any further about, like you cannot write today as I speak a book called The Historical Origin of Judaism. I can write it, but it won't be about 3 or 4 pages. That's it. A simple fact that Jew is a word and a name and not a person or a people. And Jews are telling you themselves, so-called Jews are telling you themselves, that Saddam Hussein wrote a book, The Invention of the Jewish People. They are invented, non-humans. Why give the stories your spirituality to make it real and alive? That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing. But it's so simple. Israel is a word and a name and not a person, people, or land in the conversation. Do I need to talk about any Jews further than that? No. There's nothing to talk about. It's over with. So you can't tell me about no stories about some Jews. I don't told you about the Jew. It's only a word and a name and not a person or a people. So now why are you going to tell me about some Jews? Israel, why are you going to tell me about Israel? I told you that Israel is a word and a name and not a people, person, or land. So why go any further? That's the historical origin of Judaism. I gave it to you tonight. If you just really understand what I have given to you, so simple that 2 callers missed it. 2 of them missed it. And the first call, you can't tell him nothing. You can't tell him nothing. So I just let him go. Let him go. My second brother, they call, I love that brother. It's a good brother. If you just understand those 2 words and the words that follow those 2 words that I said, and don't go any further, just steady, keep letting that go over and over and over in your mind until it'll click, bing, you'll say, I be damned. That's what I said when I found out. So I was wondering why. I said, why can't I write the historical origin of Judaism? Because I
couldn't get around to it, huh?
No, I couldn't get a handle on it. Because it's been layered up with all these lies. On top of lies, 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 on top of lies. couldn't get, if you go over here, then, they've got something over here for you. You say, well, no, that don't add up. See, everything that you read bring to be facts and truth, it's got to be balanced. As truth and facts. If it doesn't balance as truth or facts, then it's something wrong. So if a person who listens to the broadcast tonight wrote down those two names and the words that follow those two names, and don't go any further than those, just keep going over and over. Jew is a word and a name and not a person or a people. Don't go any further than that. Israel is a word and a name and not a person, people, or land. Don't go any further than that. Shlomo Sand in his book, The Invention of the Jewish People. Invented. Wow. S. David Spurgeon in his book said, no Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. He said, no, there's never been any Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Sarah, Gideon, Esau, David, or Solomon. And Walter Williams said that 99 9/10 of every name mentioned in the Bible never walked the earth as human beings. That's true. So, if you understand those facts, then you have the historical origin of Judaism. That's it. Understand that. I speak about
now,
this. Go ahead.
I have a question for you now.
Okay.
The people who was in Germany that Hitler was supposed to have killed, where did these people come from?
They're Germans. They're Polish people. They're Czechoslovakians. They're Hungarians. That's where they came from. Okay?
Uh-huh. So they was labeled with the lie as well to maintain the lie.
Yes. They said that,
and then the illegal state of Israel was created back there in the what was the 60s, and
now,
the illegal state of in Palestine that was set up. These were the same people.
No, the AIU, Alliance Israelite Universal Paris, France,
okay,
in 1860, created a Zionist movement based off of the Bible. They took the Bible and said that we're going to take these characters in the Bible and the stories in the Bible and make them real, humanly real. And they were backed by plenty of money from the bankers on Lombard Street. Plenty of money. Backed by millionaires of America who backed that movement. So it was the AIU who took the Bible and created Zionism based off of the Moses story. Moses' mother put him in a basket and floated him down the Nile River to get away from old Herod, the bad ruler, who wanted to kill all boy babies. And the basket floated down the Nile River until the Pharaoh's daughter saw the basket, retrieved the basket, took baby Moses out of the basket, raised Moses in the house of the Pharaoh. That's what the story goes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, in 1999, in the Metro Section newspaper in Chicago of the Sun-Times, an article came out. It said little-known facts about Egypt. The bigger article was on, and them talking about in this newspaper article, about the reopening of the Oriental Institute on the grounds and the campus of the University of Chicago. But anyway, they had a smaller article in there, little known facts about Egypt. It says that even though scholars have searched for over 100 years, they cannot find any evidence of a Moses being in Egypt. They cannot find any evidence of 10 plagues brought against Egypt. They cannot find any evidence of an exodus occurring in Egypt. They cannot find any evidence of slaves building the pyramid. See, this is what they said. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, they took that story of Moses and the basket that Moses' mother was supposed to put him in to float down the Nile River. That is called the Ark of the Covenant. Every synagogue that you go to, they have a little cabinet up there. And that little cabinet is the Ark, signifying the Ark that baby Moses' mother put him in to float down the Nile River. Then they tell you the story that Moses went on Mount Sinai to meet God, to receive the commandments that God wanted him to give the man to obey by. And that's the commandment. So in that cabinet, which is the ark, you'll find the covenant that was made between God and Moses. That's called the Ark of the Covenant. You see? So, in 1999, a newspaper article in the LA Times, that article wrote about a rabbi named George Wolpe, W-O-L-P-E, who had a 2,200 member synagogue in Modesto, California. It said in this article that this rabbi had to break the news to his congregation that the Exodus never occurred. He had to tell them, the article said, had been known about archaeologists 15 years prior to that. See? And so he had to tell them the truth. Even though it hurt a lot of them, and a lot of them, some of them left the synagogue for him telling them the truth. But he said he had to tell them that. So now where are all these lies, where are they coming from about Egypt and the Exodus and Moses, 10 plagues, and all that, slaves building the pyramid? It's coming out of the book of the Bible called the Exodus. That's where the lies are coming from, most of them, the base foundation of these lies. So it goes right back to what I said. If you can understand the simple facts that I brought out about the two names, Jew and Israel, just understand that. Don't go any further because there's nothing for you to go any further with. Because if you go any further if you read what I put down, what I told you to put down, if you go any further than that, then you missed the whole point. There are no Jews. No such thing. They're telling you this. But no, they're going to continue on and say, oh, well, the Jews, hold it. They're not, you missed the point. I told you it was no Jews. You see? So that's what I have to say about that, Brother Tarhaka.
Okay. All right. I think that pretty much puts it in a nutshell right there, Dr. Wills. I mean, you told us who the people were in Germany at the time that Hitler was supposed to have murdered 6 million people, and you told us about the setting up the thing over there in Palestine and all of this stuff. But in the minds of the people, by them not wanting to give up the Bible, they gonna still try to hold on to that Jew too. So I don't know, man. We just gonna have to just keep telling the truth until finally it'll do like you said it's gonna do. It'll fragment the mind will say ping.
Right.
They'll realize, wait a minute, we just like Malcolm X said, we've been had, we've been shafted, we've been bamboozled again.
Right.
And all this other stuff here. So, oh man, it's incredible. But once you tell a lie, and you have to continue to do maintenance on that lie. When you're talking about layer after layer after layer, well, these are the props that, because they've been propping it up for years and years and years.
That's true. And what they have done with the 6 million Jews killed by Adolf Hitler, it's a funny thing that every time historians and forensic medical people go there to examine about the Holocaust, they get assassinated. Get assassinated. And they're all white people over there. How are you going to tell a Jew from the other white person? If you're a Jew, wear a black armband. You're damn fool if you wear an armband and you know you're going to get killed.
Oh.
So, it's a lot to think about. But they try to make that standard. 6 million Jews, that's standard. If you look at the reality of it, you could not get 6 million Jews out of Germany, collectively out of Poland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, none of those places over there. Not 6 million Jews. Oh, wasn't 6 million Jews over there.
Boom.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
What you want to add,
That's a
Brother
bomb. Yeah, well, that's a bomb right there. If you do the census and you look at census, and I don't know if they were taking census during that time, but I would venture to say that you validate what he just said by saying there was no 6 million in Germany or any place else. I'm not sure if even 6 million in this country here, probably.
Right.
That's today, but I think there's a little saying that goes something like in a world of lies or something like that, or to tell the truth is a revolutionary act right now. And that's what we're talking about right now. And there's another little saying that makes mention of this is by saying that when you've been told a lie so long, the truth sounds strange.
Right.
So it sounded strange to a lot of folks, and when it all relates to the degree of brainwashing each one of us suffer from.
Correct.
Some to a greater degree than others. Some you just ain't gonna never get through to. Period. It's too much. It's too deeply embedded in their brains. You know,
Yeah,
it's just
and
like
that's what you do.
Carl G. Woodson said about in his book about that backdoor thing. He said when he talks about how if you control a man's thinking, you don't have to tell him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no back door, its very nature of his mind and how it's been brainwashed would make him make a back door rather than go through that front door.
That's
So
correct.
that's what we at, you know, and some of us ain't gonna make it out of this. That's just a fact right there. Some of us are never gonna wake up to what's happening. They're gonna hold on to what they got for the rest of their lives. Not be open to anything else and any other facts. You know, that's all.
They're gonna fight you on it, and I know this for myself. I have relatives, and they no matter how much I talk to them, I say, well, when you're doing this, that, and the other, just whatever you're doing involving religion or your beliefs in Christianity stuff, just exclude me. Don't include me. Stop including me. And don't do me no favor about, well, you know, we're going to pray for it. No, keep that to yourself. Just totally, I'm not trying to question you about anything. I'm not trying to tell you no truth no more about nothing. I'm not giving you any facts. So just whatever it is that you believe in, y'all go ahead on and hold on to that, and I'll just go on about my business. But they insist on including me and involving me in their religious beliefs. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a cancer on the brain of people. They won't do no research. They won't come up with nothing. I'm forced to do it because I have different things I have to do dealing with people with law and stuff like that. I have to research stuff. And I run into a lot of things, and then when I run into stuff, then I go looking at all the definitions and all the background information and all the facts and support what it is, what supposed to be a fact. So you have all the resources that you need, but when you're dealing with somebody with fervent religious beliefs, you're wasting your time trying to get them to understand anything. The brain is closed, is blocked. Can't hear, neither can they see. Not only do they not know the truth involving the facts, the sad part about it is they don't want to know. And that's really, really sad.
It's emotions.
Yeah.
What's that other chat I hear back there?
Somebody got an echo on the phone. Somebody must have a speaker on the speakerphone. You put on a speakerphone, then you'll hear echoes.
Oh, okay. Let me tell you this, Brother Tarhaka and Brother U.S.A. Are you still there, U.S.A.?
Yes.
U.S.A.?
Yes.
Yeah, he's here.
Okay, well, let me tell you what happened. The legal state of Israel was created in 1948.
Mm-hmm.
It was given, the Zionists was given a portion of Palestine to make a state out of it by the UN after the urging of the American government and the British government. So in 1948, they took position there in Palestine. Now, I'm saying that to say this. In 1975, a book came out. You know, I gave you a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
A book came out in 1975 entitled Zionism is a Form of Racism. And that book was created from the minutes of the UN meeting. The UN members met and agreed that Zionism was a form of racism. That was in 1975. And in that book that I gave the title just a moment ago, they said that 2 years after the Israelis occupied the portion of Palestine that was given to them by the UN, allotted to them by the UN, they sent an inspector over in Palestine to see how it was going over there and what the Israelis was doing and how they were getting along with the Palestinians, so forth and so on. This was in 1952 years after the creation of the illegal state of Israel. They sent a man over there by the name of Count Folk Bernardati. You know what they said? What happened to Count Folk Bernardati? The inspector was supposed to go over there and come back to the UN and make a report as to how the Israelis and the Palestinians are getting along, what they was doing, how they was faring over there. You know what they said happened to him? He was assassinated by, listen to this, he was assassinated by Israeli assassins. Killed a man. That book, that manuscript I gave you on Zionism is racism. You remember that?
Zionism is racism, yeah. Okay.
I gave you a copy of it. It's right there in the footnotes. So anytime anybody,
I was going to say, you know, what's funny about that is at the time they gave him that assignment, they knew they were going to kill that man. Probably. Okay? Because look at who's giving him the assignment. The UN. Who set that up? That's a Rockefeller creation, and he called himself a Jew? Unless he was going to go against his people,
no, Rockefeller,
they knew they were going to kill him.
Rockefeller was not a Jew. The Rockefeller family was Baptist Christians. They were not Jews. They were
Baptist Christian. Well, he's perpetrating the Jew today, ain't he?
Who is that?
The Rockefellers.
No, he's not. You know what is a Jew today? They claiming Jew, ain't they? The Rockefeller family? No, I'm telling you now. The Rockefeller family are Baptist Christians.
Okay.
Yeah, not Jews.
So he was a Jew.
I thought that many years ago, but I found out different. They were Baptist. They are Baptist Christians. Not Jews. See? So they don't want anybody to make a report on their activities over there in Palestine. They killed that, they assassinated that man. He was killed by Israeli assassins. That's what it's in that book I gave you. In that manuscript. Zionism is racism. Right there in the footnotes. Everybody, every time they send somebody, some forensic medical people, historians over there in the area where the Holocaust was supposed to have taken place, those people end up dead.
Oh, Germany, yeah.
There was something wrong with that.
And they don't really ever talk about the black folks that they killed during that time too.
Who?
In Germany. They don't talk about the black folks that they killed in Germany during that time too. Supposedly they killed 20,000 black folks during that time as well in Germany.
Somebody during World War One? I mean World War II, you mean?
Yeah, when the Hitlers.
Well, I don't think there was that many of us living over there at that time. I have an old old magazine article that came out of Ebony magazine in 1956. I'll dig it up one day and let you see it and read it. This brother, during the time of Adolf Hitler, had went to school over there in Germany. And this is in the 30s. Adolf Hitler was the chancellor at that time of Germany. And the students and other people would be on boats out on the river listening to the speeches of Adolf Hitler. And this brother mentioned that to another student, and he made a negative remark about Adolf Hitler. And by the time he got to his hotel room, he was arrested. The story is very interesting. So it wasn't, I don't think, after World War II, a lot of soldiers stayed over there in Germany because they had them German women as wives and whatever, girlfriends or whatever. So you had an influx of African black folk, if you will use that term, after World War that stayed in Germany. That's where you get that number up like that, but not before World War. I would say not before World War II.
So that was it appears that was Theodore Herzl who brought the Zionism movement.
Theodore Herzl did what?
He brought the Zionism movement. It was he the one that actually started it?
No. It was started in 1860 by the AIU. 1860 by the AIU, Alliance Israelite Universal Parish France. That group. Okay. And that group also wrote. That group also wrote the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. They wrote that book.
They tried to deny that.
Huh?
They denied that was a factual book.
They wrote it. Okay. And I have reasons to say what I'm saying to back it up. Because in the Protocols of Learned Elders of Zion, a chapter is in that book, the Protocols of Learned Elders of Zion, telling you about the AIU. So now it's in the same book that they claim have no authorship. They don't know who wrote it.
Right.
It's the AIU who wrote it. You see? So that's who that Zionist movement started from, the AIU taking the Bible, stories in the Bible, and trying to make them real by putting money and the news media to those lies. And you got the institutions such as the academia, universities, colleges, schools, and so forth and so on. So they're in control of all that. See, it's the capitalist community that finances the school system in America. The capitalist community. So they control the school system. They control what's to be put into the curriculum because of that control. So it's a lot to look at, man. A lot to look at. So, Brother Tarhaka?
Yes?
Getting close to the time, my brother.
Yes, it is. We got 17 more minutes. And I was going to take another little quick break, and when we come back, we can close out, and we can give them the new email address. And Brother Yoel, you can tell us how to get a hold of you. And I'll be right back in a minute if y'all would just hold on just a second.
Okay.
All right. Now, race has been a hot-button issue for 2020, and this week, Jewish, quote, whiteness is in the spotlight. Prominent Jewish writers are slamming the author of a New York Times op-ed endorsing preacher Louis Farrakhan by failing to mention his anti-Semitic and homophobic views. This author, Nat Hopkinson, is a culture professor at Howard University. She has hit back, saying that people who have, quote, become white shouldn't be educating black people on oppression, hinting at these Jewish critics. So the bottom line is, are Jews white? Well, joining us for our weekly segment, Bottom Line, is Allgemeiner CEO David Efunes. So David, let's jump right in. Genetically speaking, are Jews white?
Well, Natasha, it's important to understand, firstly, the intense sensitivity that this question has for the Jewish community. And actually, it's coming up at a personally very relevant time for me. Today is the anniversary of the passing of my great-grandfather, David Weinstock, who was arrested by the Nazis in Vienna in September 1939. And he was taken to the anthropological department at the Vienna Museum of Natural History, and he was subjected to, together with 440 other Jews, to degrading tests and measurements because he was considered by the Nazis to be of an inferior race. So it really is the height of irony and insult that when Jews express concern about anti-Semitism being ignored and a blindness to anti-Semitism, they're then lumped into the white category.
Interesting. All right, so let's break down Ms. Hopkinson's statement that Jews have become white. What do you think that she means by that?
Well, in the language of wokeness, which is, how I would describe the ideology to which she belongs, whiteness isn't just a description of the lowest rung on the ladder of victimhood. It's a pejorative. It's an accusation. It refers to an oppressor, a ruling class, a occupier, or a colonialist, right? So really, in effect, this is another slur that's being used against the Jewish community when they're sort of being branded with this label.
Now, most bureaucratic forms in the U.S. require race identification, but limited options exist for many minorities who fall between the cracks here. Is the American system of race identification flawed, in your opinion?
Look, there's probably a limit to how many options you can put on these forms. I can tell you in my own experience that I always leave them blank because I don't feel that there's a category that refers to me specifically, and I'm sure that's the case with many American Jews and many other minorities across the country. Whether there are more detailed categories that can be introduced, I think that's a question for the bureaucrats, and obviously there's a question over the practicality of that, but certainly to take into account categories that are not currently accounted for would not be a bad thing.
Now, in 2020, a lot of conversation has surrounded the concept of privilege. How wrong is it to confuse white privilege with any privilege American Jews may experience?
Look, I think first of all, there's certainly a responsibility for any civilized society to help disadvantaged groups. But the concept of defining these groups along racial terms, of defining white as the oppressor and other races as necessarily the oppressed, I think is deeply problematic and runs counter to the concept of what America stands for. I mean, the Jewish experience in America has largely shown that disadvantage and historic oppression can be overcome. And this is really what the core of the American experience stands for and what makes America different. So sort of defining and throwing people into boxes on the first day, even from childhood, which some of this ideology works, I think is damaging and certainly not helpful in terms of the bottom line result, which is allowing every person the opportunity, the bottom line goal, which is allowing every person the opportunity to achieve in America, no matter where they come from, what their background is, and certainly what their race is.
Okay, but the bottom line, there's no such thing as a Jew. I'm going to open up the phone lines and with Dr. Williams, Brother U.S.A.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we back, and I had to play that because that was funny. Here's a guy who calls himself a Jew. Of course, we just gave it a breakdown on all this in business here. So that's the last program I decided to go ahead and run that. But you want to tell us how to get a hold of you, Brother U.S.A.?
Yes, sir. Okay. Running the underground bookstore in Chicago at 1727 East 87th Street in Chicago. At 1727 East 87th Street in Chicago. And you can call us at 773-768-8869. That's 773-768-8869. Or you can email us at undergroundbookstore, @gmail.com, or theundergroundbookstore@gmail.com. Those are two ways you can get in touch with me by email, theundergroundbookstore@gmail.com, or undergroundbookstore1@gmail.com. So that's when you're looking for those books out there that they can't find, or they haven't been able to find, or they want to get Professor Williams' book, then they can give me a call or email me, and I get that book out to them in the mail, as long as they're in the country, and maybe even out of the country. They want to pay the cost.
Fantastic. Dr. Williams.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we got your new email address at V as in Victor, I as in Island, E as in Evelyn, N as in Nancy, E as in Evelyn, A as in Apple, @gmail.com. VIENEA @gmail.com.
Correct. If you want to send me an email, Tarhaka just gave you the email address, my new email address. VIENEA @gmail.com. So if you want to email me, use that email address. If you want to converse with me further in conversation, put your phone number in your email, and I'll call you back and we can take our conversation a little further. And if you want to buy my two books, The Historical Origin of Christianity and The Historical Origin of Islam, you can purchase my two books from Brother Yoel, who is one of my distributors of my books. And he gave you his address. He gave you his phone number of how you can contact him and order my two books. I'll give it to you again. You can get my two books, Historical Origin of Christianity, Historical Origin of Islam, from Brother Yoel, who owns the Underground Bookstore in Chicago. He is one of my distributors. You can call him and order my book at 773-768 8869. Brother Yoel, the Underground Bookstore. You can purchase my two books, Historical Origin of Christianity, Historical Origin of Islam, from him direct by calling 773-768-8869. And if you live in a city or wherever you live, if there's an African bookstore in your city or town, you can order my books from the local African bookstore or any bookstore, Barnes and Nobles, wherever bookstore that may be there. You can order my two books from that source. Or you can go online to Amazon and order my two books. Either way. But that's the way you can contact me. That's the way you can order my two books. Through Brother Yoel Underground Bookstore, local bookstore, African bookstore in your community where you live, or Barnes and Nobles, or online at Amazon. Those are the ways to purchase my two books, and that's the way, that email is the way to contact me. Brother Tarhaka.
Okay, well, let me add that for those of you who are attempting to get the great debate, you can contact me at 904-303-9061 before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's 904-303-9061. If you're trying to get the great debate, and we accept a donation, and we'll do that through tarhakadebtelimination.org. But just contact me, and I'll give you the directions how you can get a hold of that, and we'll send that over there to you. Well, anyway, brothers, we come down to the close of the broadcast. Is there anything else you want to add, Brother Yoel?
I just wanted to say that tape is a very good tape for people to look at, so they can study. They can get a lot out of that tape. I mean, the question of the Bible was brought up in there, and the question of citizenship was brought out in there. So Professor Williams took on, it was like 5 hyenas took on a mighty lion, and they could take the lion down, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The lion prevailed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good tape to study for those people who might be interested in that tape, or sound like they might be interested in it.
Right.
That's all.
That's a good plug there, Brother Yoel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Williams, what you want to say in close?
Well, I want to give that brother my email address.
Well, he's definitely going to get it, because we're going to convert this broadcast into a YouTube video and post it up on YouTube, and I'll be able to put the email address down, and with emphasis on contacting you at this new email instead of the old email. This is a new email. It's the first time we're putting this information out, so everybody will get a chance to see it, and I'll make sure that they know that that is your new contact email, and they can contact you by email, and they can put their phone number in there, and you get a chance to call them, and they can converse with you.
Uh-huh. All right, and then the email address you're going to put, not the email, but the post office box, you're going to put in there also, right?
Okay, if you want me to put the post office information in, I got your book right here. I go in and add that information in there as well. Yeah, I can do that right there on the video.
Because it's, do you have the post office box number in there?
Yeah, it's inside your book.
What is it?
I got both copies of the book.
He wants you, he's saying mention it. I mean, that's what you're saying?
Oh, he want me to say it.
Read it.
Okay, let me go ahead and get the book, because I never did get it.
and I got it in here in my bookcase, and I can get in here and get that. And it's inside the inside your book, the on Christianity.
Yeah. I can't.
Okay, I got it right here. I got it. Let me get them
Okay,
out
what
here.
you got?
Hold on a minute. I got this.
I think it's 570.
Wait a minute. I'm finna take it right now. Hold on here. Got both of them right here. All right. Let's go to Audience Christianity. Okay. It's MAATHIAN Press. MAATHIAN Press. MAATHIAN Press. P.O. Box.
Williams. What's the post office box?
Dr. Walter Williams. MAATHIAN Press. P.O. Box 377. 655. That's P.O. Box 377 655, Chicago, Illinois. Zip code 60637, U.S.A.
Okay, so now the post office box is 377655.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if anyone wants to contact Walter Williams by way of mail, you can contact me at my post office box number 377655. 377655 is my post office box number. And like the brother mentioned, if you want to send me a card or write your condolences out about the passing of my wife, I certainly appreciate that. I ask, don't send no money to me. Please don't. Just, if you got a condolence card or you want to write me a message and things like that, I appreciate that. But I don't need any money, and I'm not trying to, that's not an arrogant statement. I don't take money if I don't need it. That's using people. So I've never taken money from the general public. I never asked for money coming from the African community. I give everything to my African brothers and sisters from my heart. I give you all the research that I researched over the 46, going on 47 years of my researching the subjects that I talk about. And I give that to you freely. I want you to take my information to enhance and expand your knowledge base, whereby you can evolve into something of understanding about what's happening out here in the world today. So I'm not saying that I don't need your money. That's not an arrogant statement, no. I just don't take money from people if I don't need it. And that's straight up. So why should I take your money if I don't need it? I say, brother, sister, keep your money. Use it for your own self or some member of your family or something like that. You know, I've been in towns where I've lectured, and people have walked up to me and said, Mr. Williams, I'd like to buy your book, but I only have $13 to, that's all I got. Can I purchase your book? I said, no, you can't purchase my book for $13 because I'm going to give you the book, and I want you to keep your $13. And if you need anything other than your $13, I'll be glad to give you some more money if you need it. But no, you don't. I wouldn't take a person's last penny to buy my book. I give books away. So that's the kind of guy I am. So I'm not an arrogant guy. I'm just a humble guy, straightforward, straight shooter, and I love my African people. And I want to say this to you, our brothers and sisters out there. There is room at the pyramid for you. There is room at the pyramid, oh, for you. Millions have come and millions have gone, but there's still room at the pyramid for you. So I want each and every brother and sister to meet me, Walter Williams, at the pyramid. Bring your ankhs with you, which is a symbol of life, and leave your cross in the garbage can, which is a symbol of death. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Williams, we've come to the close of the broadcast, and I hope everybody took the notes and got everything they need to get out this thing. And I certainly appreciate you, Brother Yoel, coming on tonight. And I'm going to have to close it on out. And y'all have a good night, and MAATHIAN Hotep to y'all.
MAATHIAN Hotep, my brother.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. And look for our video. We're going to convert this into a video. And you all have a good night. Peace.